Now, something about sequences, recursive and explicit equations. They both have their advantages, but if I had to choose one, I would definitely say explicit. Explicit is the type where, fixing to say, it's getting late. That looked weird, but it's explicit is one. Remember, A sub n just stands for sequence. If I gave you something like 2n minus 8, and if I said find the first three terms, well, that would be no big deal because n is 1, so you plug in 1. So 2 times 1 minus 8, negative 6. Then plug in 2. 2 times 2, 4 minus 8, negative 4. 3 times 2, 6 minus 8, negative 2. And so you're like, oh, nice. Well, you could also, if I wanted to say, find the 50th term, you just plug in 50. So 2 times 50, 100, minus 8, 92. So explicit is very good about how if you want a particular term or even a few terms, you just plug in, like in this case, n is 1, 2, 3, and this one we wanted to find 50, so n is 50. And explicit also makes it nice if you have like a weirder equation, like let's say n squared plus 1. Well, when n is 1, 1 squared plus 1. When n is 2, and you don't have to put this down here, I'm just doing that for your sake. 2 squared, 4 plus 1. When n is 3, 3 squared, 9 plus 1, 10. So whatever sequence they give you, as long as it's got n to some power or you're doing something to n, it is an explicit equation because you can find any particular number of the sequence you want. Recursive equations. Recursive means you have to have the previous term. And here's what one of those look like. 8 sub n, or subscript n, and a subscript n minus 1, which basically whenever you see something like this, don't let it scare you. It just means previous term. Actually, not plural. And the drawback about this one is they have to give you that first term. So if they said, find the first three terms, well, if the first term is 10, you only have to find 2 more. So previous term, 10 plus 3, 13. Next term, or the third term, is the previous term, 13 plus 3, 16. And so note, and I bet you're like, oh, we're just adding 3 every time. Well, yeah, that's all you're doing. But see, the trouble is, let's say like on this one, we found the 50th term. We're going to have to find the 49 terms ahead of it to find it. Or technically, we could make us up an explicit formula on our own and go from there. But without doing that, there's no easy way to do it, where this is just, oh, plug in a formula. And of course, I know you're like, well, that's not too bad. Well, they can get complicated. Let's say plus 5. First term is 2. So if I wanted to find the first 3 terms, well, I know the first term is 2. Now to find the others, remember this just means previous term. I circle it to kind of give you an idea. So the second term is 2 times previous term, which is 2, plus 5. So 4 plus 5, 9. To find the third term, that's 2 times previous term, which is 9, plus 5. So 18 and 5, 23. Just to show you if they wanted the fourth one, 2 times 23 plus 5. So 46 plus 5, 51, and so forth. If they really wanted to get fancy, they could give you this. Notice how you have n minus 1 and n minus 2. Well, if this is the previous term, n minus 2 is the term before it. So, actually this, adding the two terms before it to get it, you got it. That's where the Fibonacci sequence comes from. Now, the drawback of this, it has to give you two terms. So if it gave you the first term is 8, second term is -1, then you'd be like, okay, well, we got 8, -1, and if they said find the next three terms, well, the previous term and the term before it, add them up, 7. Previous term, term before it, 6. Previous term, term before it, 13. And of course, they can do, different things to you, but the concept is basically the same. But as you can see, with the recursive, you always have to they have to give you what the actual term is to get started. And if you wanted the 30th term, you've got to find 29 of them. Explicit, no matter what it is, they give you the formula, you plug in. You can find the first 3, or you can find the 1000th term if you want, without a computer, and not too bad. Hope this was of help to you. Have a great day.